with your faith, with your compassion, with your grace, oh, with your grace.
Everyone, welcome. I hope you all were able to hear that music. For some reason, it was a little glitchy at the beginning, but yeah, it's a very special piece of music. To me, always has been, and become even more special as I played that after my speech at my dad's funeral recently, and it's all about going out there and shining your light in the world, which is very much connected to being the gift that you are, your medicine in this world. So, yeah, again, I hope you managed to listen to a bit of that. It is by Jay Jagadish, and it is called In Dreams, if anybody wishes to know. But yeah, welcome. I can see Lian is there. Over to you, Lian.
Hello, sorry, I'm just making sure people can get in. There were some issues with the password, so give me. So I've now lost the post I was writing. Sorry, it's not very organised. Okay, I was planning. I'll do that in a moment. I was trying to. Oh, here we go. Sorry. Right, I'll be with you in a moment. I just wanted to give everyone the password because if you come in by mobile, apparently you need that. So lesson learned. That's now sorted, and thanks for those of you that let me know that was missing. Hopefully other people can get in that were struggling. Okay, welcome. Oh, so lovely to see you all here. Really lovely. So for those of you who've not joined us for something like this before, we always start with making sure you know that all of you is welcome. Every one of you is welcome, and all parts of you are welcome. And that's the parts of you that might be feeling a little bit sleepy, depending what time of morning it is for you and whether you're a morning person or not. The parts of you that maybe feel a bit nervous. Maybe you've not joined something like this before. The parts of you that are curious, excited. And I always say, also the parts of you that just don't want to be here. There's usually a part of you that feels that way. They're welcome here too. So this is going to be, as everything we do, just like a sumptuous feast for the soul. Although it's a Q&A, and obviously we will be answering your questions, really want this to be an invitation for you to just drop into your heart, into your soul, and just enjoy this time together too. So, yes, bring your questions, but also allow this just to be an experience you enjoy too. We are going to, actually, before I start, if you haven't already got it on that gallery view, it's nice to do that just so we feel like we're all here together, kind of as if we're in circles. So if you haven't done that before, up on the top right, certainly on desktop, I'm not sure if it's the same if it's on phone, but if you click something that says view, regardless where it is, and then just click it to gallery instead of speaker, and then we can all see each other's faces, which just really adds to that feeling of us being here together. And another thing, thanks to recent changes with Zoom, we can mute you. We have that power, but we can't get you off mute again. So when it comes to asking questions, we'll come to you and say your name. Yes, please ask your question, but you'll need to unmute yourself. We no longer have that power. So just letting you know, I'll remind you at the time, but just to say that now. And what we're going to be doing today is, firstly, Jonathan's going to guide us into dropping deeply into our bodies, hearts and souls. And if you haven't experienced one of Jonathan's drop-ins, they are gorgeous. You may even actually drop off for a bit. Feel free, we'll wake you up at the end. And then we'll spend some time co-create our intentions for this time together, and then we're going to open into the questions. Before I hand over to Jonathan, is there anything you can do just to make yourself a bit more comfortable? It might be just adjusting yourself, how you're sitting. It might be getting a blanket, I don't know, turning a heater on, opening a window, whatever you need to do just to make sure you're as comfortable as you possibly can be, because that's really important to us. So wonderful. Okay, over to you, Jonathan, to drop us in.
Thank you. So for those of you who haven't been on one of these calls with us before, we're going to just take a few minutes to drop into our body, to come home to this incredible instrument that is our body, the instrument that we get to play this game of life with. And much of what we are going to be talking to is the language of the soul. It is language for the soul. And the more embodied we are, the more connected we are to our soul. By becoming more embodied, by getting into a more natural, wild state, we can be more conscious and connect with our soul and be able to discern between whether something is aligned for us or not. It's almost like taking hold of that compass that we can lose every now and again. Okay, so I'd love to invite you to close your eyes. And start to feel yourself coming home to your body, to this space you find yourself in, to this space we are all co-creating together. Feel the weight of your feet on the floor, your body pressing into your seat. Feel the surface underneath you. Feel the coming together of your energy and its energy. Feel how it holds you. Feel its texture, its density. Feel it all. Now allow your breath to find a smooth and deep rhythm, like a wave, breathing in deeply through your nose and letting go through your nose. Just take a moment to find that deep, smooth rhythm. And next, place your right hand over your heart center. Feel your heart. Feel how it's always there for you. Feel its beating. Feel its field of energy emanating out from your body and taking in whatever is around you. And as best you can, try and let go of any tension, any clench around your heart center. And begin to breathe in to your heart. You may wish to envision a golden light as you breathe in, coming into your heart, and feel it expanding. And as you let go, feel yourself releasing a little bit more of any clench or hold that is there. And as you continue to soften the area around your heart, feel any longing that might be there. Welcome any longing that is there. Just take a few more breaths into your heart, deepening your connection, opening ever further, and feeling even more what is there to be felt. Feel the gift that is your heart. Be the gift that is your heart, that is your love, that is you. Feel the love that your heart aches to give and receive. Feel how your heart loves everything that it is aware of. Be the awareness of your heart, of you. And now in your own time, slowly coming back to your moment here in this space we have co-created, you can begin to open your eyes. And as you do, as best you can, maintain that connection with your heart, with your being. And as you're starting to take in this space, take in this moment, these men, these women, take in the depth in their eyes, their presence, their radiance, their soul, their medicine, their gift. Feel their heart's consciousness, witnessing you, witnessing them. Feel the love in their heart. Feel the ache, the longing, if there is one there, to be their medicine. And feel this container once more that we are co-creating together. Feel how it holds all of us. Feel how it holds you. All of you is welcome here. All of you.
I needed that, actually. I feel fully here now. Thank you. I'm going to read a poem that I'd actually planned to read at the end, and then it just felt too good to leave until then. So I'll probably read it twice, but it's a bit like eating the pudding before the meal. Sometimes that's perfect. It is so gorgeous. It's called Cargo, and it's by Greg Kimura. You enter life as a ship laden with meaning, purpose, and gifts, sent to be delivered to a hungry world. And as much as the world needs your cargo, you need to give it away. Everything depends on this. But the world forgets its needs, and you forget your mission. And the ancestral maps used to guide you have become faded scrawls on the parchment of dead pharaohs. The cargo weighs you heavy the longer it is held, and spoilage becomes a risk. The ship sputters from port to port, and at each you ask, is this the way? But the way cannot be found without knowing the cargo, and the cargo cannot be known without recognizing there is a way, and is simply this: you have gifts, the world needs your gifts, and you must deliver them. The world may not know it is starving, but the hungry know, and they will find you when you discover your cargo and start to give it away. Now, if that isn't invoking, you're beyond invoking. But I suspect if you're here, that spoke to you. So before we dive in to questions and answers, I'd like to invite you to create intention for this time together. It could be something that you want to see or take away on this idea of being your medicine, doing your soul work. It could be just how you want to be in this time together, how you want to show up during the call. Anything at all that you intend to create is absolutely perfect. And then if you'd be willing to share it in the chat, and again, just a few words, a line at most is perfect. It would be so wonderful. There is something incredibly powerful in being witnessed in that expressing of our intention. And what we always notice is something just delightful to be able to kind of see our heart's longings in that way and have them witnessed. So if you would just share in the chat, just something that captures that, whatever you'd like to create in this time, expand my awareness. Beautiful, Michelle. And you know by now, you get my gold star for being the one that went first. So there you go, Michelle. Listening beyond the noise. Beyond the noise of you, he means, Jonathan. Wonderful. Any other intentions? I'm just going to take a moment. Jonathan and I actually, it was a bit of kind of his one we prepared earlier. We took some time before the call to create our intentions, and for both of us it was really just to be really deeply in our hearts and souls and to show up from there. What else we got? Listening beyond noise. Oh yeah, open and curious, gorgeous. To open to something new that is coming from within me. Oh, Carolina, because you'd replied to me, that's gone to me, but I think you probably meant it for everyone. Seeing more clearly, I am my cargo. Gorgeous, Dave. To discover another crumb. Lovely. Connecting with acknowledging my wild medicine more deeply. Beautiful, Nicole. Soak up all and off and really take it in. Wonderful. George, dropping out of intellect and getting curious. Wonderful. So if you haven't already shared your intention, please do so. We'll dive into questions in a mo, but feel free, if you haven't already shared your intention, just add it there, and then we'll come back to them at the end. So it is worth, if you, even if I haven't read them out, pop them there, because then you'll have the opportunity to have a look back at the end to see what you did create. Right. So question time. So this is anything that you want to ask about this beautiful, is there any better, juicy topic of making a living, being your medicine, doing your soul work. And if you're here on this call, I very much suspect there is something deep within you that is calling you to this path. That's why you're here. And so we're here absolutely to meet any curiosity you have, answer any of those kind of yeah, but, and really see how we can guide you through any obstacles that are coming up for you in this area. So any questions at all, try not to overthink it. The invitation really is to go back into your heart and see what's alive for you. And sometimes that isn't a kind of perfectly named question. Sometimes it isn't something that like necessarily seems like a question until you speak it out. But the invitation and the permission here is to speak it anyway, and trust whatever you speak is going to be perfect. So if you have your question, and please, I know there is this kind of, oh, I don't want to be the one that goes first and I don't want to speak out. Apart from the fact you will get my gold star, chances are whatever you ask, at least one other person here is going to be thinking exactly the same thing. I'll be like, oh yes, wonderful. I really have never seen a thing where someone asks something and everyone thinks it's ridiculous. It just doesn't happen. It only happens in our imagination. So if you have a question, put your hand up, either visibly like this. Dave has one, George has one, or you can use the clever Zoom function if you know how to do that. Do it there, and I'll keep an eye on that too. So I will. Oh yeah, I don't have the power to unmute. There's me going to do that and I don't know how to. I think I can ask to unmute. So Dave, we'll come to you first. And hello, Dave. Lovely to see you here.
Morning, lovely.
Hello. Lovely to see you. It's been a long time since we've chatted like this.
It has, isn't it?
Good. Yeah. So what is your question?
I just wanted the gold star, really.
Yeah, you did. Sorry. Oh my gosh, Dave,
thanks.
Have the gold star.
I'm a happy boy now.
You do actually have to have a question, though. You can't just
darn.
Come on, get the gold star and go.
Okay. I do sort of have a question. So I would say it's two things really. So there's the sense that my North Star or guiding star as we're in Advent is looking in the direction of, if you like, the magic or the wildness of who we really are. That's like my pole star. And then running alongside that is this like sense from so deep that I almost can't quite get at it, but I've got a sense that it's there, of the cargo, the delivery for this earthly time in this earthly form. And I guess it's the integration and the deliverance of those two things. I guess that's what's got me here, is the kind of the marrying and the expression of those two things. That's not a question, is it? But that's what's come out.
Oh my gosh, I love the depth in that. If there was a question, Dave, what would it be?
I guess it would be, so it feels like it's there. I'm surprised at how slow it's unfolding. And I'm open to that just being like my mind going, yes, we should be there by now. Thank you very much. We've played this game for long enough. But I guess I'm curious as to what might be there that looks real and is an apparent blockage that really isn't and could just fall off as easily as a falling off thing. So I guess the question coming out of that, sorry, while I fumbled my way through, is am I missing something? Or is that just the habitual pattern of the unfolding not always being at the pace at which the mind would like it to be?
Yeah, and no apology needed. I love your
They
willingness.
seem built in still, so they're going to come out until they don't.
British, huh? But yeah, just to say, it's that willingness to just speak without knowing what's going to come out that I just love.
Yeah.
That's just perfect. Jonathan, are you feeling moved to speak to Dave first? Or if not, I'm happy to.
You go first.
There was I was expecting that. So,
I was watching him on the screen.
Dave, firstly, what I'm loving in what you shared, but also just what I know of your path, is I'm seeing this pattern that so many of us are following over the last, well, in my experience, over the last couple of years, where there is this call to really dive deep into what you expressed as kind of the truth of who we are. And I think when we go on that path, which we name as like the path of ascension, we get that absolutely beautiful experience of unity, of non-separation, which is that kind of deepest level of experience of who we are. And I think then when we have this sense of, oh, I thought that was everything, I thought that was all there is, I just, the further I go in that direction, there's nothing else. And then we start to feel this call that you're describing, which we call the descent into the body, into the soul, into that unique gift that we are. That can be a bit, firstly, confusing. It can be a bit like, where's the map for this? I thought the only thing to do was to keep going up and up and up into this truth of who I am. And it can look, as you're describing, quite frustrating and slow, because it's like, well, given I've understood all of this and experienced myself as this just as God consciousness, why should this part of uncovering this kind of unique gift that I am be so slow and so veiled and so frustrating? And so what you're describing, I suspect there's quite a few people on the call that have had a similar kind of experience. I'm certainly hearing this over and over again from the people I've been speaking to. And I think, firstly, I just want to say it's really important to acknowledge that first part of the path upwards, the ascension path, is so valuable, so precious. Nothing that we're doing is in any way saying that wasn't valuable and precious or negating it. It's like, wow. And that puts you in such a beautiful position for the descent. And so I really think that's important to name, because it can seem like, well, I've spent, I don't know how many years exploring that. Was that a waste of my time? Or was I, should I have been spending that time in this understanding of the gift? And no, I really see that actually helps us in being able to hold us through what can be some quite dark nights of the soul in the descent. Coming to more specifically, what you were talking about, like, is there something you're not seeing, or is there a blockage here? My sense of it is, having worked with lots of people on this part of the path, how can I say this? So the willingness, and when I say willingness, there's also an ability and also the guidance and even being able to see the path. But this does require us to an extent, it's this paradoxical, let go of that sense of being one, being separate, the non-separate, and being willing to experience ourselves in what can be quite a painful and terrifying way as these unique, separate gifts. And it is paradoxical because both are true, but there is a place where we need to be willing to be fully in these bodies, fully in this experience, wounds and shadows and all. And when we've had this experience again of like, oh, the peace and the bliss and the love of non-separation, that can seem a bit like, why would I do that? Why the hell would I choose into something that's like dark and scary? Well, you would if you want to be your medicine. And not to say it's all dark and scary. It's absolutely fulfilling and gorgeous and wonderful too. But there does definitely need to be that kind of, okay, I'm now ready to walk into the valley of death. And we, again, I think are only ready when we're ready. There's no rushing that. But it also is a path. And I love the way the poem I just read named this. The part where it said, and the ancestral maps used to guide you have become faded scrawls on the parchment of dead pharaohs. I love that, because this is what we see over and over is missing from our modern culture. We are bereft of guides and maps. That's why our work with Wake the Wild is so inspired by myths and archetypes, because they are our maps. And when we're able to find those maps, find our guides, and begin to walk into that valley of death, that's when it becomes not just possible, but kind of like a wise choice. It isn't somewhere you really want to rush in alone and without the map. So what you're describing is what I would say is like, you're now at the place where, you know, whether that's, me and Jonathan or another guide and another map, you're at the point now where I'd say you're ready to see your map, see your guides, and walk into it. And that isn't something.
Yeah, that makes sense.
There.
Yeah. The stuff you said before, it made sense, and it didn't feel like where I was. It certainly felt like where I've been, without a doubt. Where it kind of felt like where I was when you said about the. It's interesting. I've been reading a lot of Adyashanti at the moment, and he's a guide, really. That's how it comes across to me. So I think that's what's got me here is the guide element. Definitely that really hits home. Yeah, that's exciting.
Yeah, I think so. I find it exciting personally, but also exciting for all of us that get to walk this path. Really, so exciting. Jonathan,
it's not the stuff that's gone before. It's not that it's irrelevant. It's just not relevant in the same way.
Yes,
it's handy being able to understand P&L and read a balance sheet and cash flow and everything. It's cool, but it isn't. It's almost like a language. It's like almost like part of the brain that needs the new language, which is, I think, what you're calling dissension. Isn't formed yet, and so you need somebody to speak it with so you can be it. That kind of thing. That's more how I see it. That makes sense.
Yeah, the word language really I think captures that beautifully. Jonathan, is there anything you've got to say on that?
I think I probably just pick up on that theme of a guidance as that. Well, the reality, for me at least, is that we're all, or everyone who's on this call now, or everyone who's has questions along this path, is an unnatural thing. For me, if we were living in a more indigenous life way, we would be deeply connected with the earth, with Pachamama, and our soul would be intrinsically open, enveloping and taking in all the guidance from nature, from our shining examples of formative caregivers that was modeling this, and our gift would be seen and honored and nurtured right from when we was born. And so it's always interesting and helpful for me to kind of stand back and appreciate that actually this is unnatural. Where we find ourselves today, for most people in the modern world, is the most unnatural thing there is, and it basically comes from a level of disconnection. from ourselves, from whatever we put in shadow. Like Lian was saying, maybe chasing the ascension path and not so much going into the descension. But it's the greatest, arguably the greatest guide there is nature. And it is really placing ourselves in the environment and giving ourselves the space to activate what's in our junk DNA. There's our genius, our gifts lying dormant, ready to be expressed, ready to illuminate the way forward for us on this path of reclamation and actualization. And yeah, I just really wanted to just compound on that yeah, the greatest guide there is coming home to ourselves and to where we come from, which when we get to be blessed to inhabit this spacesuit of a physical body that we get to live this life by, it's a coming home to us. We come from the earth. We're not separate from it. And it's only when what I see happen is try and separate ourselves from it, either in ascension out of this earthly plane up there, or even just numbing ourselves in whatever way we do that brings about this. And so yeah, I just felt kind of called just to speak to that. If that makes sense, let me just check in, Dave. Does that make sense what I'm saying there?
Yeah, perfectly. Yeah, it does. I think yeah, exactly that. I mean, I spend the majority of my time either reading, contemplating, or wandering. I mean, I could loosely call it walking, but it's really wandering. I just go wandering. Like I'll wander off for hours.
I love that word, wander.
Yeah,
it's one that we use, and
that's I thought about walking because I often say to others, you know, I'm going for a walk, and that's really my kind of, I guess, safe way of saying to them, I'm about to wander around for an indeterminate amount of time, so they don't think I've gone more mad than they think already. So it's a little bit of, you know, like protection game in a sense. But yeah, I'll sometimes like, and if I'm, increasingly I find being indoors really difficult. Actually, I hadn't thought about that.
Yeah,
like if I'm indoors for more than an hour to an hour and a half, I'll just need to go outside, even if it's for 5 minutes, like round the block or something. It feels very odd.
Yeah, well, I think that's testament to where you are in your journey. The more we come back to soul, the more we descend, the harder it is for us to conform, to fit into the domesticated boxes that modern civilization has provided for us. And so I can really feel that awakening. And you may well find you get itchier feet than what you currently have, but that's to me is the pull of the soul. That's that pull, that North Star, that guiding light, what you spoke to there. That's what's pulling you out of that conditioning, that socialization, that domestication back into the wild of who you are, your medicine. And so, yeah, that's beautiful to hear you say that, because I see that time and time again. So,
and it's interesting, the work I used to do, I'm not really doing at the moment with leaders. Always, I would get them out, even if it was only a coffee shop up in town or something. But more often than not, it would be, we're not meeting in your building. We're going into nature. All breakthrough retreats and stuff I did were by the sea. It's always outdoors, always, always, always.
Beautiful. Love it.
I can't understand. I even used to interview people outdoors, like, because I'd get a stronger sense of who they were in the outdoors than I could ever get in a boardroom. I mean, like, as far as I can tell, pretty much nothing useful happens in a boardroom. It's just bizarre. So thanks, Jonathan. Thanks, Lian. That's very helpful. Appreciate it. Thank you.
You're very welcome. Thank you.
You are so welcome, Dave. I think that's there's so much in both your question and kind of what we explored as a result of it and what you've shared. So gorgeous question. Thank you so much.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate that.
Would you apparently? No, I can't mute. I think. Oh,
I've muted. We're good. I'll do the muting, Lian. So I'll take it.
Lovely. George shared that she's actually wanting to settle back and listen and doesn't have a question. So anyone else want to jump in with theirs? And I really encourage you not to wait until afterwards and then regret not asking the question that you had. So now it's your time.
And I'd like to just extend that invitation to also just feel into that deeper part of yourself and see if there is a longing there or an inquisitiveness that maybe isn't further up in our head region. See if there's something deep down within there that maybe wants to be shared, or a question that is aching to be asked.
Wonderful. Nicole, lovely. Would you mind taking yourself off mute, honey?
Thank you. I really feel like I don't want to speak right now. So I feel it must be the right time, because what I want to do is wait for the emotion to pass. And it's my heart that recognises the descent, which I didn't know that was what was happening. And it sounds like my heart just wants to be heard about the long journey, the long, dark, painful journey that was my soul's calling, because I didn't choose the circumstances. It was chosen for. It was universal rearrangement. And then my soul said, now's the time. And I went, no, thank you. None of that. And not in that way. And so what I've seen is, or what I was shown was the moving away, the breaking down of relationships, and everywhere that I would go to reach out to was moved away from me. And I did go willingly. It felt a lot like falling down the stairs. You talked about the blindfold, Lian. So I had the blindfold on and I was willing, but I fell down every step on the way. And I suppose the question that's not a question is seeing that the journey, which was into the underworld, which was so, my guiding star was the women who walk with wolves and Clarissa. Literally, it was my life raft. Read it and reread it and reread it. And this is why everything, that you speak of resonates with me so deeply, because it is about the wild self coming back, going through, meeting the death mother and understanding the life cycle, and knowing that there has to be a death to be a rebirth. And I was that ascension. Everything's light, everything's wonderful, toxic positivity actually to that point. And I had to just collapse into the darkness and sit with it and meet it. But that journey I could only do that by myself. That walk in the woods. When I was called to go, I had to go by myself. And nobody understood, which is okay. but it's about this guide. So I'm looking for the guide. That's what I've been doing, is finding my own guidance, reconnecting with my wild woman, my wise woman, my medicine woman, and seeing all that's rich and dark and deep and beautiful and painful there. But the guide part is the question. I suppose I'm seeing the guide within and then the maps and the guides on the outside. And I'm being drawn back to, I'm being dropped breadcrumbs. And one of the breadcrumbs was a good friend of mine recommending your work, and then your work, Dr. S, took me to, and all of it it's speaking to what I'd seen and had already started moving my business towards. But I'm like, oh my God, there's other people who are speaking this language. I'm not completely mad. I'm not alone. And so, yeah, I suppose it's the question that's not a question is just, I suppose, to speak to the value of the guide within and the journey that has to be alone, and the value of the guides that are out external, and the maps and the community and the connection. And that's what this is. This is this expression that's coming through me that wants to be heard, is that yearning for that connection with people who actually speak my language.
Oh, Nicole, thank you so much for gifting us with your heart in that way. Oh gosh, just felt all of that. Thank you so much. And my dogs are just going to let themselves out. So we'll do that in the background there. Oh gosh, yeah, so much richness in everything you shared there. And we see the same thing shot over and over again, these ideas of maps and guides, but also whether we call it circle, whether we call it community, that's that sense of, yes, there's parts of this that we do need to walk alone, just the way you're talking about, and there's ways that we can only do it with others. We are cooperative animals. We weren't designed to walk alone. None of us are lone wolves truly and fully. There's times where absolutely those walks into the forest alone are essential, and we need places to come back to where that people can really see us and get us and hold us. And so both are needed, which is so much why we work the way we do, why so much of our work is based around this idea of true circle, true coming together in these like really intimate spaces to provide exactly what you're talking about. So I know it wasn't really a question, so I haven't really given you an answer. But is there anything else that would be helpful? But again, just you sharing what you shared, I think is just beautiful.
Yeah, I think I didn't really know, I felt drawn to be here today, and I suppose it's just to say thank you, because I feel like this, I'm being too much, or this is too much to bring into this space. I could have brought, I wanted to bring something intellectual and neat, but I've been a hot mess. And I suppose that's what I had to offer today.
Oh, well, we love and appreciate and welcome your hot mess, Nicole. Thank you so much.
Definitely. And I just want to honor and celebrate you in your hot mess, and also in your heart, which is, you talked about the internal guide. For me, there is no greater internal guide than your heart's longing. And so that is the most powerful, and your too muchness is what is your gift. And that's what, in our early years, obviously we received those messages that it is too much, and therefore we start to place that into shadow. We place our gold, our medicine into shadow, because our too muchness is not lovable, and therefore it invokes that greatest of primal drivers, which is life and death. And so just, it's such a blessing to witness you, to feel your heart and to feel that longing, and that emotion is, for me, way better than any intellectually well thought out question or whatever it is. It's the simplicity of your heart's longing. And it's just that simplicity that we complicate and pave over and ironclad. And so, yeah, I just wanted to just highlight that, because it feels to me like you're already very much in touch with the greatest guide there is, which is your heart's longing. And I can feel the trajectory of that unfolding, and the consistency of that is going to prove incredibly fruitful. So yeah, beautiful stuff. Thank you.
Oh, sorry, I don't know what happened there. I lost my mute button. I wasn't on mute anyway. Do you think we've got time to sneak in one more question, Jonathan? Or am I being... Mind you, we always do this, then we run out of time to do what we're meant to do at the end.
Well, I have a sense
we've got form for this.
We can hold that vision, Lian, of squeezing another one in and getting
okay. Are there any other questions? We've got room for a little one. We haven't really, but hey, we will. If there's one there, we will meet it best we can. And do take a moment just to close your eyes and drop in again. Really, what we're here to do is to hear and meet our heart's longings. Is, you know, it's absolutely fine if you've got a kind of intellectual head-based question too. They are welcome, but the deeper invitation here is for you to go deeper. Michelle, honey, take yourself off mute if you would.
There, I'm here.
Hello.
Hi, lovely to be with you all.
Lovely to see you again.
It was lovely to hear Nicole's straight through the heart. That went straight to my heart, and it was lovely just to be here for that. So it was worth being here. So I thought I'd ask my lovely materialistic question after the heartfelt one.
It's all welcome.
Just to mix it up a bit, really, because I'm happy with my heart and my magic and my medicine. The one thing that I'm finding hard is, how can I align myself to allow money to gravitate towards me? My husband is now laughing in here. It's not funny.
I love that you've asked that, Michelle, and
I just had to come out after all. But, you know,
I'm so glad you did. I'm so glad you did. And I lately, particularly, I'm so seeing how this is such a taboo, but particularly a taboo in circles where we're talking about soul work, all of that. It's almost like somehow this is like not okay. And more I'm saying, oh my goodness, this is like right in there, baked in, you know, like the more we can be in like real intimate relationship with this idea of being able to receive money, make a living, being our gift. That's where again, more and more I'm seeing like that's where the juice is. That's where it really gets, it's again, a real portal into this earthly plane and all the bounty, all the abundance that it contains. So I love that you're kind of courageous enough really to bring that in, thinking like, is that gonna be okay? And like, it really is. So let me just take a moment just to drop into the kind of the depth of your question there. So what's occurring to me is, and Jonathan and I were just talking about this just before we jumped into this webinar, was this idea of holding a clear vision. And what I see over and over again is part of this work, part of this path absolutely is that making contact with our heart's gift, that medicine that we're here to be. But then what we can do is stay so in there, we're not then allowing ourselves to have that freedom of like, what would that look like manifest out into the world? what would that be like? How would it feel? What are the parts that make that up? If I were to hold that as this sacred vision that acts as this illumination of the path to be my gift. And so often what I see is missing when people are saying, you know, I do have a real sense now of my medicine, and that's gorgeous, but where's the money? And what I often see is missing, and maybe it's not completely missing, but certainly again, the clarity and the sacred honoring of their vision is often what's missing.
Okay.
And so we don't really obviously have the time to really do justice to this, but that would be my invitation to you to, again, always this is coming from the heart. This isn't a kind of externally derived, you know, what would bring me status and what would look cool. It very much, and I know you know you better than that anyway, but I just want to be really clear, that's not what we're talking about here. This is, again, through the heart. What would that look like? Me being my medicine in the world, what does that look and feel like? And then being able to, again, hold that without the kind of, how do I do that? Is that realistic? Do I deserve that? Who do I think I am having a vision? Like, really have to hold it like it's sacred. The very fact that I have that desire for it means it's available. And that is my sacred vision. That's what I came here to unfold into. So again, I wish we had longer, because this is such an important part of this path. I really wish we had longer to do this, but thank you so much for asking that question, Michelle. And hopefully that's at least given you a kind of the next breadcrumb, if nothing else.
Thank you. No, that's great.
Thank you. I know we're running out of time, Jonathan. Is there anything you wanted to add?
Yeah, this is a topic that we could just riff and go on. And I think probably one thing that's there once the presence itself is just maybe to make that link with shining our light on full beam. And for me, the energy coming back a lot of the times, not always, but a lot of the times, is just confirmation of how we're shining our light, how we're being our medicine out in the world. And it's just like the lighthouse analogy, methodology. What works well for me is just being our lighthouse on full beam. We're going to be serving and being our gift. So therefore, there's a cycle that really comes in there. And it's very hard because, again, that too muchness. Basically, I judge that all of us on this call are too much for this modern, socialized, domesticated, conditioned world. And so the more we can become comfortable in being our too muchness, in being on full beam, the greater degrees that cycle comes back to us in the form of service and wealth, and obviously in an aligned way, again, to help you be more of the gift that you are. And so, this is a huge one. We'll be coming back to this time and time again. But I just wanted to add that a little bit. But hopefully that was helpful.
Yeah, that's perfect. Thank you. Thank you both.
Beautiful. Thank you, Michelle.
Yeah, thank you, Michelle. So we're now got about a minute to do about 10 minutes in, but I think we're back over to you, Jonathan.
Indeed. So, now I'd like you to just take a moment and check in with your heart once more. I'm sure most of you already are, but maybe place your hand again over your heart and just find yourself dropping back into that center, that seat within your body and soul. What is your heart feeling? What is it saying? Is it ready to embark upon the path of waking your wild medicine? Is it longing for more? Well, if the answer is yes, Lian is going to explore a little more about ways in which we can help support you in that most beautiful of explorations.
And I so wish that we had more ways right now for you all to enter that path. It absolutely is our intention. what we're just seeing, and I think there is something about this particular year, 2020 has created this rupture where so many of us being like plunged straight into our souls and feeling that call. And so we are as quickly and as well as we can doing what we can to meet that need. And so I'm going to share, unfortunately, it's a very limited opportunity just because we literally only have one place left in our next program, but we absolutely are going to be creating more over the course of 2021. So I'm sure most of you have heard us speak about Waking the Wild Medicine. It's our circle that's beginning on the 19th of January. And it's all about this idea of understanding that deep medicine that you came here to be, and then to be able to express it out into the world. And so we do literally have one space left, and it's also only for a man. What we really wanted to do was create this ratio of men and women. So often what happens is we draw a lot of women to our work. I'm not sure why, it's just how it tends to be. And so we really consciously wanted to create this beautiful, rich dynamic of both men and women. So what we've decided to do is cap the places for women and then release what's remaining for men. So we've got one place left for a man. If you're either here live or listen to this on the replay and you're feeling your soul call you to this journey, get in touch. There's more details at, and I'm going to make sure I do this right now because I think I gave the link to this wrong last time. There's more at primalhappiness.co/medicine. Would you be able to pop that into the chat for me, please, Jonathan? I think the link I've got there is actually wrong. So I think that one's wrong. But I can see you highlighting. But yeah, if that's something that's calling you and you want to know more, reach out. You can email us at support@primalhappiness.co, or if we connect on Facebook, drop me a message and we can arrange to speak to explore if that's right for you. And again, I wish we had more ways available for everyone right now to walk this path that's being called to it. We absolutely are so committed to creating that in the next, well, I always say in the next few months because I'm very overly optimistic. Jonathan's like, hold your horses. It won't be quite that fast. Yes, and I now invite you to have a look at your intention from the beginning of this time together, what you wanted to create, read back over it, and then just let us know, did you create what you came here to create? Did you create something different? All of it's welcome. If it's just like, hell no, I totally didn't create that, share that too. It's just love to know what you got that you plan to get, what you created, what you plan to create. Yes, I've got my breadcrumb, lovely. Yeah, thank you, Kate, for what you just shared there. Yes, enjoyed soaking it all in. Thank you, Sarah. Did you create what you came here to create, Jonathan?
I did. I'm pleased to say.
That was a tick in the box. Lovely. Yes, I've really expanded my awareness. You're such beautiful people. Back at you, Michelle. Yes. Thank you, Dave, Nicola, and Michelle. Yes, I've got lots from this and curiosity still for what might be next. Beautiful. Wonderful. Yeah. Yes. Opening up, Florence. Beautiful. And yeah, I definitely created what I came here to create. And there was definitely in the first couple of minutes when I was like crazily trying to grab Zoom links and paste them into the places and none of it was quite working at a moment where that was in the balance. But I think thanks to your drop in, Jonathan, I did end up back in my heart. Wonderful. Well, it looks like there was some beautiful things created there. I'm going to finish with that gorgeous poem that I read earlier. So we're going to start with a pudding and end with a pudding, which I don't think anyone's going to mind about that, are they? You enter life a ship laden with meaning, purpose, and gifts, sent to be delivered to a hungry world. And as much as the world needs your cargo, you need to give it away. Everything depends on this. But the world forgets its needs, and you forget your mission. And the ancestral maps used to guide you have become faded scrawls on the parchment of dead pharaohs. The cargo weighs you heavy the longer it is held, and spoilage becomes a risk. The ship sputters from port to port, and each you ask, is this the way? But the way cannot be found without knowing the cargo, and the cargo cannot be known without recognizing there is a way. And it is simply this: you have gifts, the world needs your gifts, and you must deliver them. The world may not know it's starving, but the hungry know, and they will find you when you discover your cargo and start to give it away. That's one of my new favorites. I love that. So, gorgeous people, take yourselves off mute. As we've established by now, we don't have the power, and so we can all Kate's gorgeous baby. Take yourselves off mute so we can all just say goodbye to each other. I thank you so much for joining us. I posted earlier just realizing, like, oh my gosh, of all the ways I could spend this hour, creating this with you was just perfect. So thank you so much for joining us, and again with such open hearts. Again, the questions and what you've shared here has just been testament to how much you brought your hearts to this time together. So thank you so much. Anything you would like to say in closing, Jonathan?
Yeah, just really echo what you said. Like, this is a real honor and a blessing for us, but this is kind of our path. This is our work. So yeah, we could have done, we have 3-4 hour call to really dive into the juiciness of all of this, which yeah, I'm a little biased, but I don't think there's anything more important in life than exploring, becoming your medicine, the truth, the light of who you are, your gift. So yeah, I feel very honored and blessed to be on this call with you, and I'm excited to continue this exploration with all of you in however that takes form.
In 2 months, we've got something new to offer.
Yeah, let's maybe have a chat about that afterwards.
So much love to all of you. Mwah. Feel free to speak out your goodbyes, love, whatever you want. So I'd love to hear your voices.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
So much love to all of you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Lots of love to everybody. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.